So, this Chick-fil-A thing is old, but I keep seeing videos on it and the stuff about gay marriage or, whatever. So I got a few things to say after just seeing too many videos. You're watching a video, there's somebody, and then they have a Chick-fil-A video. I realize it's like a month old or however freaking old this thing is. I actually heard somebody saying, well, I'm just going to consider people who eat at Chick-fil-A to be homophobic and anti-gay. I see children. I know children that go to Chick-fil-A. Are they homophobic or? Somebody pointed out to me that Nabisco supports gay marriage and gay, lesbian, transgendered rights and all this stuff. Are people who are eating like Oreos? That's Nabisco, right? Like, are they supporting? Does that mean they're in support of gay marriage? I thought we already had civil rights and everything, so you can believe whatever you want, have any political position. I mean, not even civil rights, I mean, before that, First Amendment, and doesn't affect where on that basis, you can't be rejected for establishing a business somewhere or going into a business. Or buying a house or property or stuff like this. Of just, holding a belief or supporting something. Unless it's like, okay, we're going to support, like the Taliban, and we're going to supply them arms, and we've been doing that, and we're going to buy this factory and turn it into like making, weapons, send over there, some treasonous weird stuff. So I'm 100% for them doing that and boycotting their business because of the owner or harassing an employee. Most people that work at fast food places work there because they need to. Job market's been pretty slim for a while now. There was this thing, and I partially watched it. I said I can't watch that. You're slamming somebody who's working. I mean, somebody who's trying to feed their kids or trying to put food on the table or trying to eke by working at a restaurant, fast food place, or whatever the hell it is. I've never eaten at Chick-fil-A. Getting harassed by people saying you're anti-gay. Does that person even know the stance of the company, the person that works there? Is that their job to research what the beliefs are of the owners? Does anybody do that? I mean, I worked for Hobby Lobby, which is a very proselytizing, very right-wing company. It's a very fundamentalist, proselytizing Christian company. I needed the money. And none of its people can go into the store and they don't get bombarded with it. They play crappy music. It's just instrumental crap. And the most that the store proselytizes is maybe selling statues of Jesus, and the fact that they won't sell anything with an image of like a saint or like Mary or any of the saints. And it's very Calvinistic or whatever the hell, like iconoclastic. and I ran 3 departments there. I worked alongside a Mormon, a Scientologist, a proselytizing evangelical Christian, a few atheists, and a bunch of Catholics. We worked there for the same reason, because we needed money. I took a part-time job at UPS. I have no idea what their standards, what the president or CEO's beliefs are. Didn't care. They're actually kind of a crappy company, just like I think Hobby Lobby's pretty crappy company. That I don't think they care about their workers. But there's also another thing I want to address, which is on the other side of this. What's the biblical stance on marriage for the sola scriptura people, for the Bible alone people? Because you have polygamy. Now, granted, I agree with you, it's not endorsed. It's not, I mean, Abraham with his wife, he had one wife, and the other was a slave that his wife gave to him to have a son, because she didn't trust in God. That's how the story goes. And these are not very good. If you look at the patriarchs, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, they're all pretty bad parents. Abraham sends off his slave that he had a child with and his firstborn son to go wander in the desert. And God says, I'll take care of you guys, don't worry, you're going to be remembered and you're going to be a great nation. And the Ishmaelites wound up coming up and kicking the crap out of them. I think kind of funny, kind of ironic thing there. Not ironic, but poetic justice kind of. Jacob tricks his father, steals the blessing from Esau, and then winds up favoring. Isaac plays favorites with his kids too. Plays favorites with Esau. Jacob steals the blessing when Isaac's getting older. And then the story of Jacob and his children. His children were pissed because he kept favoring his one son because he loved Rachel more, so Joseph and Benjamin were much more important to him than the other kids. The other kids are just, okay, yeah, go work in the field. And they were very jealous. So his bad parenting had something to do with Joseph being, almost killed and enslaved, and Joseph kind of was the one that got it right. Said, no, wait, hold on, and for all we know, he wound up being a good parent. But he didn't really spend much time around his father, after he got the coat. And polygamy was the norm, just like slavery. There's no endorsements on any of the stuff, but there's limitations. So yeah, I can see that, where polygamy's bad. New Testament, it's one man, one woman. I don't know if it's explicit in there, but if you're Bible alone, you can't find much of family values in the New Testament. It says, it talks about being chaste. It doesn't say, oh yeah, you have as many kids as you can and this and that. Now from Christian tradition, you can see, yeah, it's one man, one woman. But where is there? There's no wedding ceremonies in the Bible. We hear about the wedding at Cana, but what does a wedding ceremony consist of? In ancient times, what happened was people who were going to cohabitate together, and they wanted to make it official, so they invited everybody in the town. They had whatever holy person there read a piece of whatever holy book they had, and then everybody got drunk. And sometimes, I want to say consumption, not conception, but consummation of the marriage. Sometimes it happened prior to the ceremony, sometimes afterwards. It was two people who were going to cohabitate, have kids. That's basically what it was. Now, from Christian tradition, we have wedding ceremonies. In the West, the more and more they get off into this postmodernism of, I mean, not even iconoclastic, but the fact that like a church is not like it's not a consecrated place, it's not a sacred place. Like even the old, like churches from like 200 years ago that were very like puritanical. It was still a place. You walk in there, you take off your hat. You don't yell or shout. You're respectful. Now you walk into a place, it's set up like a movie theater. There's a screen on there where they'll show some clips. There's a guy that wears Buddy Holly glasses and ripped up jeans, skinny jeans, and a flannel shirt, and he's like a cool guy. And or they'll put on like a play. They play rock music, which they call praise and worship, and there'll usually be a coffee shop in the I would call it a narthex, in the lobby, I guess. And there's like cup holders and stuff in the seats, and and you'll see people running around dancing in the aisles or shouting out in tongues. But I mean, there's a jam band going on, and then you have a motivational speaker, and there's a screen. And I went to one of these, and they had a play, and it was about like a girl had her boyfriend move in, and the father was just being really pissed and irritated, and they didn't, he was just like, and I guess, and that was shown as like the model of how you should act as a man, of like, well, I just don't like this going, and then the person never really addressed, well, it's very strange, they didn't really, the pastor or whatever didn't address any of the issues resolved. It just said, well, there's hardship in life, and this is becoming more common in America, and we've got to think and pray about how to do. I mean, okay, so you're trying to say something, but you're not saying anything because you won't say anything definitive or controversial. Yet these places are like, we're like the first century church. Okay. So how a wedding ceremony would be there, I don't know. I had always assumed that gay marriage was legal. I was, from the time I was a kid, I figured this is America. You can do whatever you want, unless you're not hurting anybody. Or not unless, if you're not hurting anybody, you can pretty much do what you want. My specific views on whether gay marriage should be legal or whatever, a topic for a whole nother video, because I'm already running like 14 minutes plus. But yeah, I think it's despicable once people say, well, people who eat at Chick-fil-A, I'll just assume that they're homophobic or they're against gay people. Because what about other companies that support gay marriage to people? That's just beyond ridiculous. Or boycott it or pull some unconstitutional crap. I believe that was in the 1st District of Chicago. Not surprising, most corrupt city in the most corrupt state. Although Springfield and Chicago seem to be vying for who can be more corrupt and scumbaggish and unconstitutional. So we've got that. So yeah, this is a very late thing, because I didn't want to make a video about Chick-fil-A, but I keeps hearing about this, and then the gay marriage stuff, and like that's. I thought we were a secular country. It's funny, the people that go to these churches that are, it's not really a church, it's just a place where people rock out and then get a motivational Tony Robbins-like speech. Say that America's a Christian nation, and they use secular as a bad word. Newsflash. The only secular countries in the world are Christian countries. There are some, I mean, the vast majority. And secularism was taught by Christ. My kingdom is not of this. Sheathe your sword. My kingdom is not of this world. For if it was, my disciples would be carrying swords. Render unto Caesar what's Caesar's, render unto God what's God's. Things like this. It was out of the bloody battles of Protestant versus Protestant, Catholic versus Protestant, slaughtering people according to what religion they were, that the founding fathers said, yeah, we're not going to do that. Let's just, because you had the Congregationalists, the Baptists, Anglicans, minority of Catholics. The Baptists were terrified of the Congregationalists. It was illegal to be Baptist at some point in, I think, Maine or Connecticut. I didn't think Maine existed then, but yeah. And people said, yeah, we're not going to mend religion with state because nobody was of the same. There was no one religion in America. You had many different forms of Christianity. And they were terrified because you get a head of state, and then and I think people should know this by now, when state and religion meet, both get corrupted. No atheist state has been secular. Secularism came out of the West's legacy of Christianity and seeing the bloodshed arise from the Reformation and the Counter-Reformation, and the roaming mobs that happened after, because of Luther. Whether he wanted them or not, he spoke out against them. But John Calvin was definitely going around torturing people, smashing stuff, setting up theocracies, all this kind of weird stuff. And the Roman Catholics the Roman Catholic Church was reacting. There were a lot of dead bodies of Roman Catholics and Protestants, and you had Henry VIII and all this other craziness. And it was theists, believers. Well, let's just say people who said there was a God. Whether deist, Freemason, any form of Christian denomination of Protestants. There was no Eastern Orthodox in America at the time. In Alaska there were, but that wasn't part of America. So it's funny that secularism gets bashed, that they would even care about what a government that they think is corrupt, but yet the whole thing just seems really, really strange and odd to me. That's why I haven't made a video up until now. I guess this would be a rambling rant. Sorry about that, folks. Alright, gotta get back to work. Peace to you, may God save Serbia and Syria. This is Yusuf Al-Tahir channel. And doesn't affect where you, on that basis, you can't be rejected for establishing a business somewhere or going into a business. or buying a house or property or stuff like this, of just, holding a belief or supporting something. So, this Chick-fil-A thing is old, but I keep seeing videos on it, and the stuff about gay marriage or, whatever. So I got a few things to say after just seeing too many videos. You're watching a video by somebody, and then they have a Chick-fil-A video. I realize it's like a month old or however freaking old this thing is. Unless it's like, okay, we're going to support, like the Taliban, and we're going to supply them arms, and we've been doing that, and we're going to buy this factory and turn it into like making, weapons, send over there, some treasonous weird stuff. So I'm 100% for them doing that and boycotting their business because of the owner or harassing an employee. I actually heard somebody saying, well, I'm just going to consider people who eat at Chick-fil-A to be homophobic and anti-gay. I see children. I know children that go to Chick-fil-A. Are they homophobic or? Somebody pointed out to me that Nabisco supports gay marriage and gay, lesbian, transgendered rights and all this stuff. Are people who are eating like Oreos? That's Nabisco, right? Like, are they supporting? Does that mean they're in support of gay marriage? I thought we already had civil rights and everything, so you can believe whatever you want, have any political position. I mean, not even civil rights, and before that, First Amendment,